Heaven's Gate, the cult that wanted to leave Earth. In March 1997, 39 people were found dead in a mansion in Rancho Santa Fe, California, dressed in identical black clothes and Nike sneakers, lying peacefully on neatly made beds. They had left farewell videos, strange messages, and a note claiming they had exited their human vehicles to board a spacecraft trailing the Hale Bopp Comet. This was Heaven's Gate, one of the most bizarre, tragic, and revealing stories in the modern history of religion. The story begins in the early 1970s, an age of spiritual searching. America was restless. Vietnam, Watergate, the fading of 1960s idealism. Into this atmosphere stepped Marshall Applewhite, a Texas-born music teacher, and Bonnie Lou Nettles, a nurse with an intense belief in astrology and the paranormal. Applewhite, charismatic but troubled, was searching for meaning after losing his job and enduring a psychological crisis. Nettles believed she was guided by divine beings and that she and Applewhite had met for a cosmic purpose. Together they concluded that they were the two witnesses mentioned in the Book of Revelation, chosen to prepare humanity for a higher level of existence beyond Earth. They called themselves T and Do. To their growing group of followers, they promised transformation, not just spiritual, but biological. They claimed that human bodies were temporary vehicles for immortal souls, and that the Earth was about to be recycled. By 1975, T and Do began traveling across the United States, holding meetings in small towns and on college campuses. Their message combined elements of Christian prophecy, science fiction, and New Age mysticism. They spoke of extraterrestrial beings who watched over Earth and of an imminent departure to the next level, a realm of pure existence beyond the physical world. Hundreds attended their talks. Many were drawn to their certainty and serenity. Some left their families, jobs, and identities behind to join what the media would soon call the UFO cult. Followers gave up possessions, cut ties with their pasts, and lived a nomadic life in tents and trailers, waiting for the craft that would carry them to salvation. But when Bonnie Nettles died of cancer in 1985, everything changed. Her death shattered Applewhite's belief that they would ascend together in physical form. Yet instead of losing faith, he reinterpreted the event. She, he said, had simply returned to the next level. Her spirit had shed its human body. From then on, Heaven's Gate became more isolated and rigid. Applewhite demanded total obedience. Members were asked to abandon individuality, sexuality, and family ties. They took new names. They wore identical clothing. Even emotions were to be suppressed, under the guise of transcending their human condition. Over time, Applewhite's theology grew darker. He saw the world as irredeemably corrupt and its people addicted to materialism and the flesh. In an infamous decision, several male members, including Applewhite himself, underwent voluntary castration, believing that eliminating sexual desire brought them closer to purity. By the early 1990s, the group had retreated almost completely from public life, communicating only through websites, one of the earliest examples of an online cult. They called their digital sanctuary Heaven's Gate. In 1997, the world turned its eyes toward the sky, to the Hale Bopp Comet, a dazzling visitor visible from Earth for many weeks. Astronomers called it a natural wonder. Applewhite called it a sign. He told his followers that a spacecraft was hidden behind the comet, sent to carry them to the next level. But to board it, they had to exit their vehicles. In late March, the group filmed farewell videos. Smiling, calm, and eerily composed, they spoke of their joy and anticipation. Over 3 days, they consumed a lethal mixture of barbiturates and vodka, placed plastic bags over their heads, and lay down to depart. 39 members, 21 women, and 18 men, including Applewhite, were found dead. On each body, identical clothing, a purple shroud, black Nike sneakers, and a small armband reading Heaven's Gate Away Team. The world was horrified and fascinated. Why did they do it? How could intelligent, gentle people end up in such a way? Sociologists described Heaven's Gate as a product of millennial anxiety and technological isolation, a community that sought purity in an age of chaos. Psychologists pointed to Applewhite's charisma, his later fear of sexuality, and the deep dependency he cultivated among his followers. But beyond pathology, Heaven's Gate raises timeless questions. What happens when delusional faith turns into control? When a search for transcendence becomes an escape from life itself? In the age of the internet, the same dynamics persist: loneliness, belonging, and the promise of meaning through obedience. Heaven's Gate may be gone, but its shadow lingers in every movement that pretends to offer salvation through surrender. In the end, Heaven's Gate was not about spaceships or comets. It was about the fragile human desire to believe in something greater, and the danger when that belief is given entirely to one voice. As the world stared at the stars in 1997, 39 souls believed they had found their destination among them. Perhaps the greatest lesson is not where they went, but what they were searching for. This video is in memory of the Heaven's Gate members. We hope love, guided by rational understanding, will prevent wicked persons from committing religious abuse and manipulating vulnerable individuals and communities in the name of truth. Take care.